the big trade rumor that we're going to get to, we got Rick Bucher coming up in about 15 minutes to break down everything we've seen so far tonight, what we could see trade-wise, is the Clippers and the Knicks have had conversations. Now, they are only conversations. Nothing has happened. They are only conversations. The Knicks and Clippers have had conversations about Paul George. The GOAT, Paul George. Maybe the Knicks heard Brandon Miller call him the GOAT, so, well, we can get the GOAT. Oh, let's go get Paul George. We can go make this happen. Now, it is only conversation. Only conversation. But they are talking a Paul George trade. And the first thing I'm going to say is, I hate to say I told you so, because I don't. But I told you the Knicks are going to make a big trade this offseason. A huge one.
Is that the guy you want, though?
Because...
even though he's the GOAT and all.
Well, he's the GOAT. I mean, he's a big trade. They have so many assets to trade that they can move on from. Now that they are Jalen Brunson driven and they have a deep roster, can they move on from R.J. Barrett? 100%. Can they move on from Julius Randle? 100%.
Obi Toppin's going to be off the board.
Right? So you can trade a couple of good players for a really good player. And it was a move when I first saw it, I was like, but I came around to it pretty quick because Paul George is a lot like Kristaps Porzingis, where he needs to just you need to let him just play in the shadows. You can't ask him to be a leader. Mm-hmm. You can't ask him to say, step up and do this. But you say, hey, just go play and do your thing. Don't worry about leading. Don't worry about making big shots. Just be Paul George, and things will work out. He was an all-star this year. Look, the guy's been first-team All-NBA. This guy's been an all-star 6 times. Paul George is pretty good. Now, is he someone that you would get to say, hey, you're our guy? No way. But if he can operate in the shadows, meaning, hey, when it comes down to it, there's a couple of guys we're going to trust or we need to make a shot before you will, when it gets down to crunch time. Now, obviously, by virtue of his name, if the Knicks traded for him, that would ratchet itself up a little bit. But in the end, Paul George is still a pretty good player. Does he handle the clutch great? No, he does not. But hopefully he won't have to because he'll be Jalen Brunson taking all of these shots. But he's still someone who fills the stat sheet and who still can be a really good player for the next couple of years. So I went from being, I'm coming around to this pretty quickly. The Knicks need somebody else that can make shots. That's the one thing that cried out at the end of the Heat series, is that if you double-team Jalen Brunson, you stop him from being able to get a shot off, well, guess what? Good luck. Because Julius Randle isn't one of those guys that can just, I'm going to mellow you off the ball by holding the ball up over my head and then take a jumper. No, the Knicks need somebody else who can score, and they saw that R.J. Barrett is not that guy. Right? R.J. Barrett's a good player, but he's not that number 2.
He's too damn streaky.
Yes, and he'll go 0 for 10 in Game 6 when you need him. He'll have 1 for 13 games. So they know they need somebody else who can score. Paul George can score. And if that's the move to go get it, that's a huge move. Even though I'm not the biggest Paul George fan, you can't deny what he does, what he brings to a team, what he can do across the board. And as long as he's not brought in to be the savior, things will be okay. I'm hoping he can handle New York if they wind up making this trade, but the fact that it's Brunson's team, I'm feeling good about it, but the Knicks are going to do something big. I told you we're going to happen. Whether it's Paul George or something else, they're doing something big.
Yeah, it's one that certainly here in Los Angeles, we're looking for all the dominoes to fall, and we've been having rumors about the Clippers perhaps breaking things up. We talked with Mark Medina a little last night, and that was one of the things that was starting to percolate a little bit, that maybe it was time, and the thought within the Clippers organization was that they took their swings at things with the dual Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, two-headed monster at the top, and it didn't work because you couldn't keep both of them on the court together, which is one of the huge concerns and one of the things Tom Thibodeau and the brass of the New York Knicks would have to deal with. But certainly when he's on the court, you look at him, 56 games played, averaged about 35 minutes a game. So there's one that you've got to figure out how to massage that, particularly the style of play in New York, right? It's a grind. Not that they haven't done that with the Clippers, but we've seen what that's yielded through the Clippers. But 24 points a game, 45% from the field, 6 boards, 5 assists per game. You'll take that. You'll take that box score. But it's going to be an idea of how you manage his minutes. And Brunson's seemingly the leader in all ways, shape, and form. I don't know that anybody's disputing that.
It's Brunson culture. You talk about Heat culture, it's Brunson culture. Well, Brunson culture. Jalen culture. What do I like?
Well, he gets traded, yeah.
Jalen culture. Frostberg.
I do like that you keep putting that into.
I mean, the Knicks don't have a pick, so maybe they package Jalen Brunson in and get a pick tonight.
He's the biggest bargain in the NBA. He's got 3 more years and $75 million left on his contract. He's 25.
It was shady how it went down.
That was a fantastic deal.
There was no shade. There was no shady.
Absolute shade.
The Knicks went to the game and sat in the front row.
You guys held the Mavericks up, basically.
That was not shady.
Well, said, hey, talk to Dad.
Make
this happen.
No.
Never got a seat at the table.
There's I'm going to take out your girlfriend behind your back, and then there's I'm going to make out with her right in front of you. That's what the Knicks did with the Mavericks.
No, they kind of did that in a big way, and we've been talking about some of the dollars and whether they make any sense with some of these other players. We talked a lot about Chris Middleton last night at $40 million, but you look at Brunson, he's $16 million less, allows you to do much more with your roster as you rebuild and retool. And Paul George, if he's ready to go, he's shown he's happy being a number 2 guy. Wants the ball at times down the stretch. That's good. You need another guy like that because
at times. Do you want it? No, not every play.
No,
you're like once in a while.
But he was not a guy that was taking over games. Is the point, right? No. And he finds his role at this point. So when we look at the Knicks and what would be left of that roster, because to make the salaries match, you start doing there's Julius Randle probably shuffled out. I mean, I made the joke about it. All right, who's on the billboards with Kawhi Leonard this coming year, right? Because we got to keep streetlights over spotlights.
Steve Ballmer
going.
Steve Ballmer.
Well, I mean, he can put himself up there.
And the urinals, Mike. Don't forget those powerful
1,300 plus.
Pressure.
Why do I know that?
I don't know. But
why do I remember that data?
You know why? Because you're over 40 now. So you know that. That's why it's like, I know, hey, can I go to the bathroom a lot easier at a game? Yes, that's what I need.
Yeah, the medicines don't help either.
Yeah, no.
It's not good for anybody. Yeah. I mean, hydrate.
What do I tell you, man? Where do I want to sit in a concert? On the aisle so I can get to the bathroom as soon as possible. And then I want to get back.
So we always try to sit.
I don't want to sit in the middle.
Either last row, like we went to Ringo last week, last row of the section. Yeah. Step right out. And away you go.
It's where we sat for Morris Day, but I was like, it's only going to be 75 minutes. I think I'm good.
They actually had seats for that?
Yeah, they were great.
It's like 4 people there.
No, they folded out the seats. They put them down for you. It was pretty cool.
Legit?
Yeah. They took the tape off the seat where it said
the guy
reserved.
coming to preach out in the park.
So look, if this winds up to be a trade, I'm good with it. I'm good with it, and I'm good with it for the Clippers because, honestly, the Clippers have been sticking with this, we just have to keep waiting for Kawhi, but it's not happening at this point. It's like everybody used to say, when Shaq starts making his free throws, it's not happening. He was never making his free throws.
He wasn't incentivized to make his free throws.
We're waiting. But Kawhi and Paul George, if they're healthy, if they can get to, again, it's year after year after year of that. It's not working. Kawhi can't stay on the court. When he gets on, he and Paul George are not enough. Paul George it can't happen. It can't. You got to move on. You got to move on. You got to go on to what is next. You've become a destination. It's not difficult if you're the Clippers to get stars to come play. It's not. You brought Kawhi and you brought Paul George in. What you did was you took the Clippers, what Steve Ballmer has done after buying the team and getting Kawhi and getting Paul George, you took the Clippers from absolute irrelevance and you brought them up to, hey, this is it. Come here. We're going to have our own arena. Everything's going to be great. You can be a star. Kawhi came. Hey, obviously things are going okay for him. He's collecting a lot of money. He's playing when he can. Paul George made a lot of money. Hey, you can go there. They'll pay you a lot. They'll treat you okay. All right. Yeah. Suddenly it was, I don't want to go to the Clippers. Now you've made the Clippers a destination. So you don't have to worry about, if we say goodbye to this star, no. You trade Paul George. Get RJ Barrett back. Get RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin back if that's the trade needs to be. I'm doing this trade for the Knicks right now. Get whatever you need back because you need something else because you can't keep holding on to 4 years of, if all of these things can happen. If it takes 4 years and all these things aren't happening, they're not going to happen.
Well, the other part, and this is where it becomes the old lesson as we've talked about for many years on the program of sunk costs. Because there's always look what we gave up to get this guy. That still will swirl about in columnists' musings on potential trades and Paul George and what he is and everything else is You gave up all these first-round picks. Yeah, it was a 5 count. Gallinari, who at the time could still play, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's become, when available and on the court, one of the great scorers and a rising player in this league. That's great. Oklahoma City is going to be pretty fascinating to watch the next iteration of their squad. But when we look at the Paul George side of it, is like you're not getting those picks back. You can't unring the bell, and you got to look at the last 4 years and say, do we need more of it? You got a good roster, right? Everybody loved the roster going into this season, and everything has to be contingent upon the italicized ... if healthy. How about you move past that? Worry about the health of Kawhi. I mean, they vetoed a trade yesterday because of potential health questions. How great was that? And we were first on it. Wait. They actually looked at the medicals before saying yes.
See, like Mike Dunleavy Jr., don't press send. Don't reply and say deal. I'll send over the paperwork.
Wait, did I really just add 2 picks to that?
What? Wait. So, I thought we were getting a first and second round pick with Chris Paul. Oh, now we're trading Jordan Poole and that's not going to be.
By the way, I'm disappointed that Chris Paul didn't end up a Clipper.
That's a bad optic. I'm disappointed he didn't end up a Laker.
Well,
he's trying to end up a Laker for his entire career. It's never going to happen.
So you were wishing that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Trying to get there, it's just not happening.
You were really trying to make that happen. I think that's why you're not wearing sleeves today.